What's going on, everybody? In today's video, we're going to look at Bitcoin. There's a couple things to look at on the chart, and I'm also going to go over some recent news articles regarding Spot Bitcoin ETF and some recent developments. Now, if you like these videos, consider hitting the like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. Let's get started right up here. And everything I go over will be down below for you guys. I'm just going to basically brush over these a little bit. There will be a few spots in these articles that I leave out. And this article is basically going over how much money will a spot Bitcoin ETF bring in. And in this article, it basically says it's hard to say. But there are a wide range of estimates from market players, ranging from $3 billion on its first day to as much as $55 billion over the next 5 years. Well, I think it will be a lot more than $55 billion over the next 5 years, and it could be more than $3 billion on its first day. And Dave Mazza, the Chief Strategy Officer at ETF provider Roundhill Investments, says that he's looking to a similar analogy as gold. And these first Bitcoin spot ETFs should see a wave of buying, very similar to the first ever gold ETF launched back in 2006, or the more recent Bitcoin futures ETF launched back in 2021. And we have a big development hint here. Mainstream investment giants such as Blackrock and Fidelity, as well as crypto-focused firms like Grayscale, have filed applications for Bitcoin spot ETFs. We know this. But here's something new. The SEC will be considering 8 to 10 filings for new spot Bitcoin ETF products, and its chair said this on Thursday. However, didn't give any timing on decisions. But the fact that they said they're considering 8 to 10 applicants, I think is huge. A few months ago, they would have never said something like this. But with the court decision that was probably about a month ago now, basically telling Gary that we need a better excuse for why these can't be approved. I'll try to provide you guys with more details with my previous video in the description below or at the end screen, but I basically covered that when it came out. Gary Gensler and the SEC needs to come up with a real reason why these spot Bitcoin ETFs can't be in the market. Now, moving on, US crypto firm NYDIG estimates demand that a spot Bitcoin ETF would be around $30 billion. However, as said by Todd Son, ETF strategist at Strata Gas Securities, says it's rare to see a brand new asset class arrive on the ETF market. So it's very tough to figure out how exactly the demand is going to materialize. And in an article coming up, I'm going to mention how BlackRock's CEO said basically the false news recently, it was like maybe the 25th or something, where we had false ETF approval news, and it caused Bitcoin to basically spike to 35,000. Well, BlackRock's CEO basically said that that's the kind of demand we're going to see on day one. And it kind of gave us a glimpse of how much buyers will just come in on that news. But sticking to this article, we'll get over that in a second. Stephen McClurgan, an investment chief at Valkyrie, believes that one starting point in gauging demand is the size of the GBTC or Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And if you look at the current market cap of GBTC, which is 3.2 million, that's probably day one demand for a spot Bitcoin product. And the big thing here is Bitcoin ETF approval means that financial advisors, pension funds, and other money managers, which is a pool of capital estimated to be around $46 trillion, could be a significant source of demand for a spot Bitcoin ETF. Those are all folks that would not be in otherwise. But I will leave this down below. There is a few more things to look at. Let's go on to the next thing. We have another entrant on the DTCC site, Invesco Galaxy. And the DTCC, or the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation's website, you can see down here that they added Invesco Galaxy with the ticker symbol BTCO. And this was added sometime within the last few days, sometime within the last 6 days. Now, this doesn't confirm approval or anything like that, but companies, hedge fund managers, and the like are all preparing for this potential SEC approval. And here's what I was talking about with BlackRock's CEO, Larry Fink. He basically said that that false news report that said its spot ETF was approved served as an example of pent-up interest in crypto. And we also have an article that came out today saying basically that big market makers are in talks with BlackRock to provide liquidity for its Bitcoin ETF. So they are putting the pieces in place that they need to be ready for this spot Bitcoin approval on day one. They have their ticker symbols in place now. They're finding liquidity providers. And in my opinion, they wouldn't be doing all this if they were sure that these spot ETFs would not be approved. But if they're more certain that they are than aren't, I can see them doing this type of stuff. So in my opinion, these spot Bitcoin ETFs are around the corner. Based on the actions of all these large companies, based on the actions of Congress against the SEC, and based on the court's decision that the SEC needs more of a valid reason for these spot Bitcoin ETFs to be denied. But let me know what you guys think down below. Are these spot ETFs around the corner? And I also wanted to touch on this article. It's not as much SEC focused, but it's basically saying that a stablecoin metric flashed a warning. And it's the same metric that marked the 2019 top. before the 2020 halving. And basically the stablecoin supply ratio metric, which acts as a measure of dominance between stablecoins and Bitcoin, surged to an all-time high on October 25. And this suggests a significant appetite for Bitcoin accumulation on chain, but it also suggests that the purchasing power of stablecoins is at a relative all-time low. And this is the highest divergence that we've seen since 2019, back in June 26, 320 days before the 2020 halving. And we kind of have mixed messages here. It says, nevertheless, while the relative buying power is currently weak and a local top like the one in 2019 is certainly possible, the larger implication is that high SSRO levels have also aligned with the start of a bigger bull market cycle. And although currently we have record high SSRO reading, the RR or reserve risk is at such low levels that typically buying when the RR is at such low levels typically produces outsized returns. And it also implies that confidence remains very high in Bitcoin's future price performance. And long-term holders may be well positioned for major gains, considering these entities control an all-time high of the total supply. That's right, long-term holders currently are controlling an all-time high of the total supply. Long-time holders continue to hold, and there are more and more long-term holders as time goes on. This should keep Bitcoin's price more and more stable as future halving bear cycles come along as well. The percentage drops from peak will be less severe over time. Now I want to show you guys Bitcoin's market cap and why I think we're going to see much more than a $30 billion inflow because of these ETFs over the next few years. Bitcoin's current market cap is $673 billion. And one of the best things about Bitcoin is the total supply and the current supply in circulation. The max supply for Bitcoin is 21 million Bitcoins. There will never be more than that. And we currently have 93% of the total supply that we'll ever have already out in circulation. And when looking at a market cap of 673 billion, 30 billion added to that would basically put it at 700 billion and would probably not move the price all that much, in honesty. I think we're going to see much more than 30 billion over the next few years. Now, a lot of the money in stablecoins is going to continue to flow to Bitcoin as we get into that more bullish cycle, as we get closer to the halving. And looking at Tether alone, it has more than an $84 billion market cap, USDC about a $25 billion market cap. Those two stablecoins there are already $100 billion, and more money will go into them over time, and some money will flow out of them and into Bitcoin, as well as people just putting it directly from cash. I think from stablecoins alone, we can see close to $30 billion flowing into Bitcoin. And I don't know, just based on Bitcoin's current market cap and based on how big Bitcoin spot ETFs will be in including institutions and including hedge funds. I mean, Blackrock is a multi-trillion-dollar company in terms of assets owned, and 30 billion just from them is even a drop in the bucket. But let me know if I'm a little over optimistic in thinking that we will see much more than $30 billion flowing into Bitcoin spot ETFs over the next few years. I just personally think we will see a lot more than that. And just looking at what the spot Bitcoin ETF false news brought us, it took us from right around 30,000 to touching 35,000. And just on that false news report, we saw Bitcoin increase right around 10% in price within a few days of that news report. And what is 10% of a $670 billion market cap? Well, it's definitely more than $30 billion. 10% of 674 billion is right around 60 billion. And if we move that much on some false news, how much will we move over the following years on some real spot Bitcoin ETF approval? But thanks for watching, guys. Let me know how much money you think is going to enter into Bitcoin on spot Bitcoin ETF news. And even if it doesn't come through as soon as we'd hope, we still have the halving right around the corner to look forward to. And of course, eventually the Fed going back to lowering interest rates. Thanks again for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think about everything revolving around Bitcoin spot ETFs. And let me know where you think Bitcoin will be by the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised to see us approaching $45,000, $50,000. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'll catch you later.